Good evening, Purple family. Welcome to another episode of Shades of Purple, a Prince podcast. On tonight's episode, I'm going to be giving you all the purple tea I found about Princess and Apollonia's relationship. But before I get into that, I just want to say I've got some news. So me and my husband got tickets finally to Paisley Park, and we will be going in August. So please give us your traveling grace, your prayers. We'll also be going to Mall of America as well while we're up there. So of course, I'm going to go live on the Facebook page, and I might even go live on Instagram as well. For those that don't know, who are maybe new to the Facebook page, we do have an Instagram page, and it's called Shades_of_Purple Podcast. So please go ahead and follow that page as well. Of course, we're still on YouTube as well. I think right now we got about 30 or so subscribers. Now, when I get my new laptop, I will be doing more with the YouTube channel. So hold on tight. I've got some plans for the YouTube channel, and also I'm going to be having some merch coming out because me and my husband, when we get ready to go to Paisley Park in August, we are going to have some Shades of Purple t-shirts. So I'm going to have those out. So if you want to buy a t-shirt, just let me know and I will get one out to you. Right now, I don't know how much I'm still trying to decide how much they're going to be, but they're going to probably be in the range between $15 and $20, something like that. I'm not trying to, bust anybody's wallet. So it's going to be between $15 and $20 more than likely. So stay tuned for that. Also, before I get into the episode, I'm going to make some further comments about the situation with Sheila E. and Paisley Park. I did kind of talk about it on the Facebook page already, but I just kind of wanted to kind of elaborate my feelings and thoughts on that whole situation, because I really do think that Sheila was in the wrong. I know a lot of people think that, Paisley Park was wrong for what they did, but honestly, I think that Sheila E. was in the wrong. And like I stated on the Facebook page, I said that I felt like Sheila was making it all about her on Prince Day. Prince Day, of course, being Prince's birthday. He would have been 66 this year. And they have a lot going on. I mean, Paisley Park, June 7th, Prince's birthday. I mean, they're going to be hella busy, right? And they were having tours going on at the time that Sheila said she wanted to go into one of the studios and do a live. And I'm like, you could have did a live out in the parking lot, which is what she ended up doing after she was told to leave. So I was like, you could have just did the live there in the parking lot, or you could have did the live at the soundstage, which according to Paisley Park is what they offered her, because everybody can do that though. So I guess she was like, well, I'm not like everybody. I actually worked with Prince and knew him. And, and I guess she thought that because of that she deserved special treatment. But I applaud Paisley Park in wanting to treat everyone equally, and the fact that, no, you still have to have permission. Now, had she called ahead of time and said, hey, I want to get into Studio A and maybe do a live, possibly they would have let her do it. If there was a way that they could maybe do something about the tours and, close off, the studio or something. But I don't even know if they would have done that, because people have paid good money to go on those tours. And they, of course, have access to all of the studios, Studio A, B, C, and I think there's a D. So that wouldn't have been fair to the people who paid their money to go into the studio to say, hey, I'm sorry, unfortunately, we can't go into Studio A because Sheila E. is in there doing a live. The fuck? Had I been on tour, I would have been like, no, that's not fair. And I think anybody would have said the same thing. So for the people that are wanting to, shit on Paisley Park, trust me, I think Paisley Park do a lot of shit wrong. Don't get me wrong. They did some kind of questionable things in the past that I will talk about on another episode, because that's not for this episode. So I'm not totally saying that they're just, completely right. I mean, they probably could have maybe tried to make some kind of reasonable accommodation. But at the last minute, they probably couldn't. So that's why they said, well, hey, just give us a heads up and, maybe we could have accommodated what you needed. But because Sheila E. wanted to make it all about her, because she said that she was also going to promote a concert that she was doing with Morris Day at the time. So it wasn't about Prince, really. It was about her trying to promote the concert and whatever else she might have going on in her life right now. And I'm not saying that she shouldn't be able to do that, but you don't have to do that at Paisley Park. You could do that from the comfort of your own home, or you could start like a podcast like Apollonia did and talk about things that are going on in your life and invite people that you want to talk about and converse about with Prince, which is what Apollonia is doing with her podcast. So, you don't have to go to Paisley Park to do that. And because I know that she doesn't even stay in Minnesota anymore, she stays out in the Bay Area, I believe. So, why are you coming out there for it to announce, even if she was doing the concert, but I think she was doing the concert in Minneapolis. But still, there's other places and times and days that you could have done that. And so I think she was just really trying to make it all about her. And then for her to decide a few days later, she's like, well, give me my drum kit back, Paisley Park. Okay, bitch, get your drum kit back. So I'm really hoping that they, I'm sorry to be disrespectful. I don't mean to call her a bitch. Y'all know how I am. I got a potty mouth. But I really hope that they give her the drum kit back, just so she can shut the fuck up about it and we can all move on about it, because from June 7th all the way up until I finally stopped seeing stories about it. I want to say today is the 19th. Happy Juneteenth, everybody, by the way, too. I think I just stopped seeing stories for it. I want to say maybe last week. So for like 2.5 weeks or so, all I kept seeing on my news feed on Facebook was Sheila E. says she's heartbroken. Sheila E. says she's heartbroken. Okay, we get it. But I think she wanted to do that just to get publicity. I really do feel like, and a lot of people were saying in the different comments on the different posts on the different Prince pages, that this was just a publicity stunt on the behalf of Sheila E., that she was just trying to draw attention to herself. And I believe that to be true as well, because it was just so unnecessary. And given the fact that, her and Prince were not close at the time that he died, they were not on good terms. And that's not to say that had he still been living, maybe by now they would have been back on good terms. Who knows? But because that's not the case, he's not with us. So we could only go off of what we last know about. And he did not reach out to her like he did to Morris Day and a few other people before his death to try to make amends. So he was really pissed off because of a book that she put out in 2014 called The Beat of My Own Drum, which at some point in the podcast I will be doing a review of when I get to the Purple Kingdom episode talking about Sheila E. But she makes several allegations. One that I know is a flat out lie that I've talked about in other episodes of the podcast about this alleged engagement that she had with Prince, saying that Prince proposed to her on the Love Sexy tour during a performance of Purple Rain, of all songs. And Kat Glover has also said that this wasn't true. And in the book, she says that Prince never gave her a ring, but she always made the assumption that they were engaged. Okay, so that doesn't even sound right, because I said in another episode of the podcast that we all know that Prince loved jewelry. So I don't see him not giving her a ring, because when he proposed to Susanna in the 80s, he gave her a ring, he gave Maite a ring, and I know he gave Manuela a ring. So there's no way that he would have not given her a ring if he was really serious about wanting to be engaged and married to her. So I just knew that it just did. And then during Purple Rain, of all songs, like that just sounded too suspect and too fanatical, too made up, in other words. So after that, a lot of stuff that she said was just kind of like another part in her book, and I can't wait to get to review it, by the way. But she also had this affair with Carlos Santana, which of course is one of Prince's idols, and as far as guitar playing goes anyway. And she claims that, she never knew that Carlos Santana was married until several years into their relationship. And I'm like, come on. Yeah, I think she knew from the start that he was married. But I just refuse to believe that she was that naive. So she tells a lot of these tall tales in her book. And when I do my review, we'll go over everything that she says that I feel like is a flat out lie. But those two are the ones that really stand out to me. Not knowing that Carlos Santana was married, and the fact that Prince supposedly proposed marriage to her. I don't think either one of those happened. But like I said, that's just, what I believe. You don't have to go by what I say. And a lot of the stuff that I'm going to tell you about Prince and Apollonia is all hearsay. So you can take it with a grain of salt. Because what I had to do is I basically had to skim websites like a Lovesick Alley, not Lovesick, Lipstick Alley, and Prince.org, the infamous Prince.org. And a lot of the people on there, some of them used to work for Prince, especially the ones that are on Lipstick Alley. And also, there is another resource that I use there's a book called Possessed by Alex Hahn. It's called Possessed, The Rise and Fall of Prince. And it was actually came out back in 2003, 2004. And I actually went ahead and bought it. I hadn't got it in from Amazon yet, but that's another book that I'm going to review on the podcast. And in this book, he alleges that people on the set of Purple Rain believed that Prince and Apollonia was together because Prince did not allow any of the people that were on set, as far as like the crew, the production people, to talk to her. And we all know that when Prince gets like that about a woman, that's usually an indication that they are dating. Because other women have said that, in Paisley Park, for example, like the people that work there were not allowed to talk to, Maite. She said that as well. There was another lady, the one that had that lawsuit on him in 2003, Charlene's friend. She also said that none of the people that worked at Paisley Park, none of the employees could talk to her. So when I read that in the book Possessed by Alex Hahn, and he said that production people were saying that they were not allowed to speak to Apollonia, that made me think, okay, so maybe, just maybe, they were dating. But I use the word dating kind of loosely. I think maybe they were in kind of some kind of situationship, I guess you could call it, because of course none of this happened until filming started. But supposedly, Prince had been going to her hotel room. Even Apollonia said there was one time he showed up to her hotel room and, she was kind of unexpected. She didn't know how, he got there. So she never, of course, elaborated on what happened. And there was another time where, when they were waiting on to hear back about how the critics perceived Purple Rain and how well it would do at the box office. And I'm not sure. I guess this was maybe before the premiere of Purple Rain. They were in Apollonia's hotel room, and Prince said that they fell asleep underneath the table in Apollonia's hotel room. And I'm like, when I read that, I'm like, under a table. If y'all can recall, y'all remember that. So I don't know if he was just trying to make like a cute little reference to the When Doves Cry video. Because you remember in that video, they look like they're on the floor kissing and Prince is on top of her. And it looks like, I thought I saw like I could be tripping. I need to go back and look at it. But I could have swore I saw like a table or something that was close by Apollonia's head. Or maybe I just imagined it there. I don't know. So I don't know if maybe he was just trying to make a cute little reference to that. But sleeping under a table in a hotel room, I mean, don't get me wrong. I know Prince is a little weird, but I don't know. I just, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I really don't have a whole lot of evidence, but it just seems like more is going on. And then also in Possessed book, Alex Hahn, he actually just comes out and says that, based on what he has heard from people that worked on Purple Rain, as far as like the film crew and all that, the people that were told to not talk to Apollonia, he feels like it was well known, he said in the book, that Prince and Apollonia were sleeping together and were together, that this was just kind of like an open secret on set. And another thing that made me believe that they were maybe together was in Jill Jones' interview with Apollonia on Apollonia's own podcast. Jill stated she thought that Prince and Apollonia were together. And that was the reason why Jill said she went and slept with the Purple Rain director, whose name escapes me right now. Because she, because Jill and Prince had been in a on again, off again relationship. And so when Apollonia got introduced into the camp and Prince was spending all this time with her, Jill seemed to believe that they were together. So that to me was another indication that maybe they were, because Apollonia, I noticed before Jill confessed that she slept with the Purple Rain director, she said that, I just thought that he was hooking up with you. And now I didn't watch this, but I heard there was audio of it. And Apollonia was just like, what? like she was fake surprised. And then another time, her Flad interview that she did, and when Flad was like, well, you and Prince were in a relationship, right? And she said, this is how she says no. No. Like I said, I know it's probably bullshit to y'all, but I'm just like, come on, Apollonia, really? I mean, she said that. I could tell that she was lying. I mean, just the way no. And I don't know, but she has kept this up. She has kept up this story for like 40 years now that they were not together. And I think the reason why she wanted to say that was because she didn't want to be lumped into the category of all the other Prince women, women that he slept with and worked with. She didn't want to be put into that category, like Vanity, for example, because Vanity was in that category. They worked together, they collaborated musically together, and of course they had a sexual and personal relationship, just like, her and him and Sheila E. So she didn't want to be lumped in with the Vanities and the Sheila E's. She wanted to be like, oh, that was my brother, that was my friend, and yeah. I'm going to put up another exhibit. I don't know how many exhibits or pieces of, I guess you'd call it information or tidbits that this would count up to. But because I'm not going to read the letter verbatim. But after Prince's death, Apollonia posted like a love letter to Prince. And in this love letter, she talks about how she went to Paisley Park in 2014 and how they kissed and they talked about doing music together. Like they were supposed to be working on another Vanity 6 album, not Vanity, Apollonia 6 album or something like that they were going to be putting together. And I think it was going to be maybe in connection to the then 30th anniversary of Purple Rain, because 2014, of course, was the 30th anniversary. So he was already working on doing some remastering of Purple Rain, unbeknownst to many people at the time. In 2014, 2015, he started working on his own remaster of the Purple Rain album. But anyway, and so she said that, she felt like after he died that she was his widow. Huh? Now, a widow, and this is, excuse me if there's another definition of a widow that I am unaware of, but the definition of a widow is usually a woman who has been married to a spouse and whose spouse has passed away. So how are you going from, oh, he's my brother, he's my friend, to I'm his widow? Really? And in all the years in between Purple Rain and his death, we really did not hear hardly anything about Apollonia. Matter of fact, we only heard about Apollonia, about them meeting in 2014 after he had already passed away. So, and I know for a very long time, Apollonia resented the fact that, she was always, and probably will always be, the Purple Rain girl. She was just a Vanity's replacement. And she wasn't much of a singer. She was very beautiful. She's still very nice looking. But she was just, she couldn't sing, couldn't act, couldn't dance, really. She really couldn't do much of anything. And from what people were saying in Lipstick Alley and on Prince.org and a few other places, Prince actually didn't care for her that much, supposedly. Like I said, you can take all this with a grain of salt. That he didn't really care for her that much because she really didn't have any talent. And so if you don't have any talent and you're a woman, 9 times out of 10, Prince is just going to fuck you and call it a day. To put put it bluntly, if he's attracted to you and you can't do anything musically, he's just probably just going to fuck you. And that's going to be all that is. And in the back of my mind, I kind of feel like that's kind of what it was. But she really tried to play it off for 40 years and say that it was just, oh, we're just friends and we're platonic. But I think there's too many clues out there that say otherwise. And all of the little websites that I found, like Googling, Apollonia and Prince and did they have sex and all this, people were divided. A lot of people felt like that they did, and some people felt like they didn't, based on, her being very consistent with her story. But like I said, there are holes in her story, holes that I just, explained, that just really don't add up. So let's go back over them again. Her saying, she's this widow, and I'm like, widows, and you kissing him out, because at first she said that she never kissed him outside of the scenes in Purple Rain. But now in this love letter that she posts after his death, she said, oh, and we kissed, and we just kind of held each other. And I'm just like, okay. And then she just talks about how she was attracted to Prince and she really thought he was really sexy. And she said that she kind of figured that out when they were doing they were shooting the scene for Computer Blue, and how he has his little bird chest all sweaty and out. And so she was like, oh, I really just thought he was just so hot. Now there's a lot of back and forth about Apollonia's status as far as her relationship at the time of filming Purple Rain. And so supposedly she was married, and then supposedly she was dating David Lee Roth. So I'm just like, okay, which one is it? Because on her page, on her Wikipedia page, it does say that she was married. But it also says that she was dating, it says she was married from 1980 to 1983 or something like that. So maybe she was divorced by the time she started Purple Rain, and then she started dating David Lee Roth. And even she said that in her Vlad interview that she was in fact dating David Lee Roth, and she had to talk him into putting their relationship on hold because Prince wanted to make it seem like she was single and all this. And she said that David was actually kind of mad about that, but he actually went ahead and went along with it at the time. So I'm just like, okay, but she really didn't mention nothing about her husband from what I can remember of the Vlad interview. And I might have to go back and look at the Vlad interview from start to finish, but I didn't really care for it from the snippets that I saw on YouTube, because she's making all these lies up about, possibly writing for Glamorous Life and Manic Monday. Now, I do believe there might be a possibility that she might have wrote or co-wrote, I should say, not wrote, co-wrote Manic Monday. But Glamorous Life, I'm almost sure that he had that in the bag even before he probably knew who Apollonia was, because I think Glamorous Life was supposed to be initially for the Vanity Six, their second album that never came out. I think the Glamorous Life was going to go on that album initially. So I know for sure that she's mistaken about that. But Manic Monday, I can see her doing that. And I do know that Prince did have it bad, not giving people their co-writing credits and co-producing credits and things like that. So I'm not putting it past him. Or that may have happened to her, but not with the Glamorous Life. I just think that he had that in the bag before they met. Like I said, I could be wrong about the timeline, so please correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I don't think I am. But so she would say stuff like that. She's just taking full credit for things. I'm just like, you wouldn't say this shit if Prince was still alive. Like Sheila E. claiming that the drum kit that she donated, Prince actually asked for her to do that because Sheila E. was such an idol of his. And I'm like, okay. Did he say that really? Okay. That made me think that maybe she is now officially a pathological liar, because I just don't see Prince saying, oh my God, you're my idol. Now, I can see him saying that about James Brown, a Sly Stone, Miles Davis, but Sheila E., and not to say that Sheila E. isn't the shit. I mean, she's a very good drummer and percussionist. But, and he might have even admired her work, before they started working together, because he did know of her, according to her and her book. So I'm not saying that. I'm going to give Sheila E. her flowers while she's still here, as far as her talent. But outside of that, I think she is a liar. That's just what I think. But going back to Apollonia, so yeah, the evidence is there that they definitely had some type of relationship that she just didn't want to make public, and that's her right, to say so. There's another little small piece of evidence. Supposedly, Carmen and Apollonia used to be neighbors at some point. And supposedly, they had talked about Prince. I don't know. And Carmen was actually on a, I think it was like some kind of European talk show with one of her friends. And the interviewer asked Carmen or one of her friends or something like that, how Prince was in bed or something like that. And I don't think Carmen actually officially answered, but her friend kind of yawned, I think at the same time that the interviewer asked the question. So it was implied that Prince was bad in bed because Carmen would go on to Howard Stern 2 different times. The first time she said she didn't sleep with Prince. The second time she said that she did sleep with him. So Carmen went back and forth about her real relationship with Prince as well. But at least she kind of finally admitted that they were together. Apollonia, she never did. But going back to them being neighbors, so supposedly that they had some kind of conversation about Prince that was overheard by one of the people that worked for Carmen at the time. I think one of her, I guess maybe one of her, the people that work for him, like in the house, like a cleaning lady or something like that. Supposedly overheard Carmen and Apollonia having this conversation about Prince and the fact that Carmen asked Apollonia, so like, how was he with you? And Apollonia supposedly said, oh, about the same as he was with you. And I'm like, okay. So if this story is true, they both trying to clown Prince and say that he wasn't that good in bed. But, other people have said that he was. So, and it could have been Carmen was just maybe feeling a little bitter about how things ended with them. And then Apollonia, she might feel some type of way because they never really had, a relationship outside of the whole Purple Rain thing. The whole Purple Rain, as I call it, the Purple Flood, that whole era, because I don't think that Apollonia was like a friend that would be like, hey, would call up Prince and be like, hey, let's hang out. Like, I didn't see that, being that type of friendship they had. Like, once again, I could be wrong, but it just doesn't seem like that he was that close to Apollonia. And if what these people that worked for Paisley Park and others have said, they said they never saw Apollonia up there, while Prince was alive, like in the 90s or early 2000s, like they never saw Apollonia up at Paisley Park at any time. So that makes me think that, how close were they? So in my mind, like I said, I hate to say this, but it is what it is. I think it was a very brief relationship. It was a fling, as a lot of news outlets have claimed that they had together. It was a fling. And I really do think that's all it was. And she wants to keep that to herself. Like I said before, she has every right to do that. So there's that. So I don't know what you guys think of my so-called evidence, but like I said, take it with a grain of salt. But I think that there's enough holes in her story based on Alex Hahn's book, based on people that he talked to that were on the set of Purple Rain and around them at this time of filming and whatnot. For them to say that, it's an open secret that they were together, and Prince not allowing people to talk to her, Prince being in her hotel room all the time, things like that. So it's just like, keep it to yourself if you want to. That's your business. She has every right to keep her business her business. They used to say back in the day, you don't kiss and tell. And that's another thing that she supposedly said to another interviewer when another interviewer asked her about her and Prince being together. That's supposedly what she said, that she doesn't kiss and tell. So go on, Apollonia. We ain't gonna let you kiss and tell, girl. So I'm just going to end the episode right there, you guys. So I've got some more episodes coming out. be out on the lookout. I've got some more book reviews. I'm also going to be reviewing, I think what's up next, the Gold album, the Gold Experience. That's the next album that I'm going to review for the podcast. So thank you guys for listening. Let me know what you guys think of this episode and any others. If you got any ideas for episodes, please let me know. If you want to come on to the podcast and chat with me, let me know. Just hit me up on Facebook, Instagram. Hit me up. I'm not hard to find. So thank you guys for listening. Until I see you guys again, peace and be wild, and may you live to see the dawn. Bye.